Welcome to Backseat Confessions Podcast. Slide into the backseat as we listen to mostly anonymous strangers tell us stories from their lives. I'm a rideshare driver in Atlanta, and the people getting in my car have absolutely no idea I'm going to ask them to share. My commitment to you is to tell at least a snippet of virtually every story recorded in my car in the order they were told to me. My hope is that you laugh, cringe, cry, but mostly connect to these amazing people. You may find a piece of your own story or just feel more connected to the rest of us. Join us, won't you? So, hey, my new friend, this is an adult podcast. Themes and languages are definitely not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised. Hey there, friends and strangers that may someday be friends. How the heck are you? Well, I hope you're well, or at least becoming well. Today, on episode 10, we, among other things, will explore the richness of life, along with some of its challenges and complexities. You know, if someone told you that life was a cakewalk, you know by now, they frickin' lied to you. But in the middle of pain and monotony, there are these moments of discovery and goodness. So, come along for the ride today and be ready for some feel-provoking conversations. As I'm driving and asking people to share, while I enjoy pretty much every person that gets in my car, there are rare moments of magic. This is one of them. This rider is a poet with purpose, and I encourage you to slow down and open your heart while he speaks. You may even want to listen more than once. It might be exactly what you need to hear right at this moment.
Story number 47. Tuesday, November 24th, 2020, 10:40 p.m.
Behind every beating heart, there's a story. And everyone has a story to tell, but no one can tell your story better than you, so never forget your struggle, because you'll lose your direction. Never forget your struggle. Always strive for perfection. Life is an ongoing lesson. Every tragedy has its blessing, so stop stressing. God wouldn't have brought you to it if he couldn't get you through it. So your purpose in life, continue to pursue it. Now, where your future takes you depends on the choices that you make. You have the strength to control your own fate, so never live your life on a maybe, and don't allow others' negative perception of you define and decide your own destiny. Just live free. Now, we can do the things we want if we just try, so stop wondering to yourself why and look to the sky and begin to fly. To reach your goal, you have to have the heart of a lion. Strive to keep pushing, don't quit. Just keep trying. Your expectations of your purpose you should want to meet, so never stand by anyone who clearly tries to cut success from under your feet, and don't be so content to stand in the sand by the seashore when there's an entire body of ocean that's ready for you to explore. So don't get down about your past. You see, even flowers need dirt to grow for the ability to last. These words are small in this book that I write in, but the outlook they give speaks big on life, and I don't expect those to understand my journey who has never walked my path, because my ambition to succeed is through my pen, so you can feel my wrath. So I voice my heart into these words and verses. I'm a lyrical blessing. They call me a poet with a purpose.
Heck yeah, man. Wow. I think I'm going to have to play that for myself from time to time. That is amazing,
yeah, just
bro.
motivation, man. I think
Right?
it's universal.
And and I just feel like that's the amazing thing about spoken word / poetry when it hits you. It's like it's so relevant for me, but it's also going to be relevant for people hearing it or whatever. Like it's just like that's the power of something like that. Just
Right.
to
So it's like
move
I feel that every artist or something, you should have a purpose of why you're doing something.
Yes.
And my purpose is touching lives through my poetry.
Heck
So
yeah.
even if, every time I perform,
Yeah.
and if I can touch one person,
Yes, sir.
my purpose is met for that night.
Wow.
All it takes is one.
Dude. Man, I am inspired, my friend. I am inspired. Thank you so much for sharing your heart.
No problem. Thank you.
His name is Creativity the Poet, and he is on Spotify and most of the other music and audio platforms. I'll also try to link him in the show notes. Obviously, he's the exception to the anonymous rule, but you can see that it's for a good reason. Finding your purpose in life and living it have to be some of the most important life goals. This man is inspiring because it seems like he's doing both. Thank you, Mr. Creativity, for sharing your gift with us. This next one is a short story on smelly people. It's a tough subject to broach with someone, and all of us smell bad at some points. But when you're in a tight space with someone who stinks, it's, just slightly less than delightful.
Story number 48. Wednesday, November 25th, 2020, 12:03 a.m.
So, I had ran into a guy, a Uber guy.
Okay.
I was hanging out with my boyfriend, and I had got him as an option, and he actually smelled really bad.
Oh no.
And I had to drive 30 minutes away, all the way home. And mind you, it was 3 in the morning, and I had to drive all the way home with him stinking. And I was dying. It was so bad.
Oh my
it was so
gosh.
bad. But
Now wait.
I wound up getting home, and then
And just to clarify, who was the stinky one? Your boyfriend or the Uber driver?
the Uber driver.
I was just making sure. I thought that's what you were saying.
No, my boyfriend smells good actually.
That's
but
good. Yeah, you want your boyfriend to smell good. All right, so the Uber driver
basically,
smelled
yeah.
nasty.
That's pretty much.
Oh my gosh.
It was kind of short.
Yeah, no, that's a good story though. Yeah, and there's nothing. I've had riders in my car that smelled nasty, and I was like, man, I cannot wait for you to get out of my car.
Yes, it was so bad. It was
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
really bad. I didn't want to say anything because
No.
I didn't want to be mean, and he was so much bigger than me.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't want him to think oh yeah, you want to talk your mess, then I'm gonna do something to you. But yeah,
Thank you
that's
so much
me.
for your story tonight.
you're welcome.
So yeah, we've all been there. Up close and personal with some serious BO. I'd love to hear how you've dealt with this type of situation. It's definitely one that I don't feel like I know how to properly address if it's with someone that I actually personally know and they're a regular stinker. And pro tip for all of my hippie granola eating millennials out there, I tried the no aluminum in deodorant route for a while, and I even found one solitary option that worked pretty good, but it cost like $1 zillion per deodorant stick. So I went back to antiperspirant filled with aluminum oxide, and I'm smelling better for longer again. So, if you're struggling in the love department, maybe, just maybe, one of the issues is your armpit smell. Okay, that's enough of that for now. There is a desire in all of us to be seen. It is one of our deepest needs as humans to be known and seen. So, I love stories where people say they had an experience with that, and one of my personal favorite subgenres of this is when people of faith, or even those of us that are questioning faith, end up feeling like God hasn't forgotten about us. Sometimes it's just a moment or two, and we can hang on to it because of the impression and impact it makes.
Story number 49. Wednesday, November 25th, 2020, 12:44 p.m.
So it was my birthday.
Okay.
And this is really crazy. It was my birthday. It was a lonely birthday. My husband had to work, and I was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna hang out for the day. I'm gonna go eat. I'm gonna go shop. It was probably around about 9:30ish, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I pulled into this gas station. This was maybe around is it Camp Creek? I guess it would be Camp Creek.
Okay, yeah.
Right there the area right by the new UPS. Not that, UPS in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I'm never really around that area. Just was like, I need gas. I'm about to run out of gas. And it was really strange because the reason why I call this a strange connection, because I really feel like it was a very strange connection. I can't say that it was angels.
Right.
I can't say, I don't know. I'm heavy on the angels, but I don't know.
Right.
So I get out the car,
Uh-huh.
and I proceed to walk in the store.
Okay.
To pay for gas.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I usually pay for my gas, through the pump, use my card.
Right.
But whatever, this day I had cash. I was like, hey, I'm just going to use my cash.
Yeah.
So I proceed to walk in the store, and this van pulls up with I want to say at least 15 passengers, maybe
Whoa.
12.
Whoa.
I can't rember the number. It was a lot. Mostly it was all women. It was all Caucasian women.
Okay.
No African American, no Latino, just all. And it was really a very strange moment. But all of a sudden, I felt this. I was afraid at first. I was really afraid because of the way they pulled it in front of me and jumped out on me, and I was just kind of like, whoa. So it was the strangest thing.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, a peace came over me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is not an ambush. This is a intervention or something. I can just feel it. I know it. This is some type of moment. Well, I wouldn't call it intervention, but it was a moment. It was something. I just feel like God, or
Like a divine moment.
a divine moment. Thank you. That God needed me to have for whatever reason. And every last one of them jump out and they give me a rose.
Oh wow.
It was the most beautiful thing ever. They asked me first, can we give you this rose? And I was like, okay, well, why?
Yeah.
And they was just like, no, we're out. We wanted to bless someone today. And I was it was one of those moments where you felt like no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm wrong, if I'm right, Jesus will come get me.
And
he will send me a sign that he's with me some kind of way. That is why my faith is so strong to this day.
Yeah.
Because it was really crazy, because it was one of those moments where I wasn't looking for it.
Right.
I could never even imagine it happening to me.
But it was your birthday.
It was my birthday. I was lonely.
You weren't feeling seen, and God wanted you to know he saw you.
Oh my God. It was amazing. And to this day, I can't really explain it. And they asked me, they said, can we pray with you? And I was thinking to myself, why would they want to pray with me?
Yeah.
It still felt also strange, but I was at peace. I was like, I knew they weren't, out to get me or do any harm to me. It was just a peaceful thing. But I agreed. They all got in a circle and they prayed around me. And it was like 5 more people at that gas station that day. And I was always wonder, why would they pick me?
Yeah.
Out of everyone else that was there? No one else got a rose. No one else was prayed over that day.
Wow.
that always stuck with me. It always stuck with me, and it will always stick with me.
Wow.
Because I don't understand it. I don't know why I was chosen. But I'm glad I was chosen. And I never seen them again. And the strange, I would say one of the strange things, if I could say I could remember anything, was the fact that they all didn't look like they was earthly here. If that makes any sense at all. They looked it just, I don't know. It's just, they didn't look like, they wasn't made up, no makeup, no nothing. Everybody was wearing some type of white garment. I can't remember everything, but I do remember that. And after I got in the car, it all dawned on me what everyone had on in that moment. And that, for that, my faith will always be on a high, because I will always know that God is with me, protecting me some kind of way. And I wouldn't have never thought from, like 12 or 15 Caucasian women at that time. I'm just being, because I'm,
for sure.
I'm African-American woman. I'm like, who are you? So I'll say that to say this, and I leave this with everyone. Do not ever negate who's protecting you. There's no color, no creed, or any of that. There's just love.
Oh, that's beautiful. Man, thank you.
And that's my story from Elle.
Thank you, Elle, for your story. That's amazing. I can never know for sure, but I think I may have actually come along once with the organization that this lady encountered. They would load up a van in the evening and carry roses and some basic toiletries out to women who were in prostitution and working the streets. It was a beautiful ministry, because I don't imagine that these ladies get a lot of genuine care and attention. And to receive a rose, a care package, and prayer from people who didn't want anything from you felt like a really wonderful way to love folks who are often overlooked or looked down on by society. Anyways, at the end of the night, if there were some roses left, the mostly women volunteers would very intentionally pray for God to guide them to someone who is just a regular person that might also be feeling unseen. And again, I can't know for sure, but I'm guessing that these ladies, while they may not have been actual angelic beings, were, nevertheless, very in tune with what God's heart was for this amazing lady. That she be seen and known in the most unexpected and beautiful way on her birthday. It's also an encouragement to the rest of us, whether we claim to be people of faith or not. But if you feel that tug or nudge inside to just be kind and show some love for a stranger, you may just end up leaving a positive mark on that someone for the rest of their life. Our next writer also happens to tell us about her divine interaction, but for her it was more of an intervention and helped save her from dying. This is one of those stories that just comes at you hard and fast and is honestly just incredible. I'm grateful that she was willing to share her difficult road in the hopes that it might make a difference in someone who hears this story.
Story number 50. Wednesday, November 25th, 2020, 1:55 p.m.
Okay, well, this starts around, I was probably like about 22 or something. 22, I met someone who I thought they had loved me, but really they didn't in the end. I was really naive and young, come from a sheltered environment. I was always excelled at school and orchestra, classically trained orchestra, 4th grade, band, dance, all kinds of things. Like, I was not the child that was supposed to go off on the wrong path. I didn't know anything about smoking any weed, any drugs, anything. Like, until I went to college, like my sophomore year, then I started smoking weed. So, this guy, and this around the time when I told my mom I was gay. And I should have told her I was trans too, but it was just so much for her. I was just trying to like give it to her in baby dosages.
That's actually really kind.
Yeah, but it kind of like derailed me from doing what I wanted to do for myself too.
Right.
Because I was scared, because I was always like, you're gonna hear, and I'm gonna get beat. You're gonna get beat if you get caught for doing gay things or playing with girls, baby doll. Like I was into everything a girl do. I want to do as a child. Like I was into the wearing my mom's clothes and everything, like getting caught.
Yeah.
So. Okay, fast forward, I meet this guy like in a river on point. My family's kind of torn. I'm already going through like other family problems, like with my mom and like my stepfather and things. And not only that, but then I'm telling them gay. So people, they start switching up on you or whatever. And I'm not really understanding really what I am fully either, So I find comfort in somebody. It's the first person I've ever been with, the first real sexual intercourse and everything. So he was good at all of that. He was a manipulator. He knew what he was doing. He was more of a street kid. I think I was like kind of attached to him because we both were having abandoned. So it was like similarities kind of, but not the same background. So then one day we're in the room. I used to smoke a lot of weed. Like I said, I used to buy like tons of it at a time. Like drink Heinekens. That was my thing. That was all I wanted to do. So then one day he was like, if you hit this, if you smoke this or you hit this, you'll never have to like smoke any of that. We'll be like high all the time. You never have to be. And he was talking about smoking crack. Right. But I didn't know it was crack. And I was high and I was kind of drunk. And like I said, young, stupid, just try it. Not even knowing what addiction is or any of that, So I try it. And the next thing I know, I was like, ooh, where can we get some more of this? So... And this is when drugs were drugs. Not the synthetic stuff they got going on now. Not that crap. So... basically, I did a lot of embezzlement to pay for it, do my job and stuff. I know my world just started crashing down, but slowly but surely, like over that year, it took a whole year for the progression for me to like had lost like totally everything. But like I said, I was young, so I kind of leaned on my mom and them too, which it derailed me from school and just pursuing my dreams as a fashion designer. So then like the next... probably about from year 24 probably to like up to 30 going into 31 was like crazy turmoil. I mean, I've ate out of trash cans. I've slept under bridges. I've slept on cold pavement in like 20-degree weather and rain. I've been raped multiple times. I've been shot at where bullets should have hit me, but God like change their direction. I mean, like somebody's literally like right in front of you and the bullet doesn't hit you, like goes, you know what I mean?
Are
like,
you serious?
Like divine
you
things like that, like protected.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like anything jail time. Never no long prison sentences, but I was in jail for a whole year one time where I was just getting locked up back to back to back. But I lived in the trap houses. I've slept anywhere. Like I went through like probably like 6 months of just like not taking care of myself, like hygiene wise and like body wise and stuff, because I was just like so far out there like one time in 6 months. It's just a lot. I've been to like anything you could think of in the streets. It has happened to me.
Wow.
And I made it out of it. But what really woke me up was one night when I had a dream. I had went to bed. I just got done smoking a lot of crack, and we went to bed, and it was in the house. It didn't have any heat, but it did have electricity, but there was no heat.
Wow.
And it was like 20-something degrees outside, and I fell asleep wrapped up in just a regular cover, and I went to sleep, and God basically was just like a demon or something. Like, I want to say it was the devil. They had their hands around my arms and my neck, and it kept blowing smoke into my mouth and like choking me with it. And I just woke up out of it. I was real scared. I had like I was drenched in sweat. Like, it was, mind you, it's 20-something degrees outside. I'm drenched in sweat, and I'm only like 130 pounds like at the time.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm not fat or anything.
Right.
And God told me in my dream that I was going to die, because prior to that dream, I had already been wanting to go to rehab like for 9 months, telling my other trans sisters like, girl, I'm going, this is it. But every time I get ready to go, the devil come and like intervene. So I either get a whole bunch of drugs, a dope dealer give me somebody I ain't never dealt with, come want to trick with me, give me money, whatever the case might be. So I was already like throwing up blood and things like this. My body was telling me leave it alone, but I was still pushing it because I was still an addict. You understand what I'm saying? And when I had that dream and I woke up, I took every paraphernalia, pipe, boy, pusher, stem, lighter, everything that you need to smoke crack. I threw it out the window and I turned on the gospel channel. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Turned on the Christian channel, and I could not go to sleep. I just sat there because I was so scared because it was a dream I would never forget. Like all the years of my life, like I would never forget that moment. And I could still see the impress of the hands around my wrist and my neck, and I could just still feel it. It was just so real. It's something I cannot explain.
Yeah.
And I just had to go get it together, and it's taking a lot of work. Like even still now, like after 5 years, like it's still just a lot of work with you accepting yourself and knowing that you're beautiful, that you were meant to be here. You have to remember people want you to be in a certain box. They want you to be a specific way.
Right.
And if you don't meet their expectations, then it kind of like shift them, because people do not like change naturally.
Right.
Or progression, a lot of people, and they want to stay in that same box. And you have to realize people make these boxes in society to keep us boxed so that we don't come together and be united and, just love each other like we're supposed to. God said everything's supposed to be about love, period. That was the number one rule. Everybody's supposed to love and respect everybody and don't judge nobody for what they do or what have you. But you're not. I had to tell somebody that was a young me trying to struggle with being trans or being gay or whatever the case. You're loved. Find you a family or a network. If you don't have a family, find you somebody that can be your family and not somebody that's going to show you how to do things the fast way. Go with somebody that's going to show you how to do things right, because you're young and you're in a impressionable age. And just because you see people prostituting themselves and selling drugs and things, it might look cool because of what they're reaping right now, but you always reap what you sow. Like in the long run, it's more about putting in the work.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't recommend. I made it without being HIV positive.
Wow.
I have sisters that are not negative like me, that do not have that privilege.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I see what they go through every day with medications, everything. And I thank God so much that was me, had a different purpose for me. But everybody don't come out like that. Like all the girls I know, they're dead. I got friends that been shot in the back for being trans. Like being with men. They're not supposed to, the wives and stuff find out. A man is going to protect his manhood and protect himself no matter how much he loves you and how much he adores you and wants to have sex with you and all these things. If he's not open with his self and you get caught, be careful if you are out there jumping down the car, because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But do that. If you tricking and stuff, do that and know that you're doing it for a certain amount of time, and be working on something else like going to school or trying to get you a trade or building a better life, because you can't do that forever, and it's not going to last forever, and it's not good for you, because you don't know, you might end up being dead, because there's so many girls that are dead and have AIDS and things. But that's what I would tell the young me, and just listen to you. If you do got good parents and you feel like they not, you feel like because you're a teen or you're young that they don't understand you or whatever, if they welcome you in their home and they spend money on you, they love you. No matter, even if they don't agree with what you got going on and what you're doing.
Oh, that's good advice.
But you know what I'm saying? Respect them, because I took my mother through a lot. She lost hair behind me and got sick behind me, worried about me and everything. So, that's what I would just tell the young me. Always have you something that you're working on. And if you are out there jumping in on cars, making that fast money online or whatever, girl, be saving your money and be doing something else positive with that, so you can leave that alone.
Yeah.
Because on the other side of those drugs, it might seem like it's fun and everything, but I love being clean and sober and having my life together and being on track and having a purpose. So much more better than my best days getting high.
Wow.
And I mean, like when I make $1,000 a day and I can go do whatever I want to do and don't have to worry about it. Those days will never outweigh my worst day being clean and sober. Because I've been homeless, clean and sober too. It's not gonna, like, clean and sober is not gonna keep you from no trouble, because you're gonna go through troubles in your life. But it's better for you to be in a sober and clean mind and you go through those troubles than you being in a destructive path. Because it'll kill you, and this new stuff out here will definitely kill you.
That's for sure. Well, I am so proud of you. I am so grateful you were protected and got off all that stuff, and you told me before all this that you just graduated. Like, how amazing is that? So bless you. Thank you for your story today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's hard to know where to go after hearing this story. We could talk about the struggles of coming out to your family as gay or trans, or we could talk about searching for love in all the wrong places, or maybe to becoming addicted to drugs that will slowly drain the humanity from you and cause you to live in and out of jail and homelessness and rape. Just brutal. That also doesn't cover the demonic attack in her sleep that left her with imprints of hands on her throat and wrists. I personally appreciated the advice to kids who identify as part of the LGBTQ+ community to give their parents the space to try to figure out how to feel about something they just may not understand. My oldest, for the last several years he was with us, identified as part of that community, and I didn't always know what to do or how to handle it because it was a completely foreign world to me. And honestly, in many ways, it still is. So I appreciate when there is grace and space for people like myself who really do want to love well, but don't always know how to in every situation. Ultimately, I just want to thank Miss B for sharing so openly about her life, and I know her story is going to impact many, many people. So, our last writer today was just a ray of sunshine and so delightful as a person. And yet, her story is one of her struggle on how to be a good friend to someone she's known for most of her life. And that someone is not always open and transparent with her, and also makes some pretty bad life choices around intimate relationships. I think we can all relate to this. Sometimes we just end up in situations where we feel like we don't know what to do with someone we deeply love, and we don't even know quite how to stay in relationship with them.
Story number 51. Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, 5:09 p.m.
Alrighty, so my story is that it's kind of complicated.
Okay.
And basically, I know this girl, and she's a very good friend of mine, but the problem is, you know, her whole being itself, you know, with relationships and stuff. The thing is that she's been through a lot. I really know that, and I've been through her through thick and thin and stuff, and I totally get the situation she's been through, but she's older now, and we're like adults at this point. But mind you, she's older than me.
Wow.
So how do you say, I'm really concerned about her decision choices, you know? So basically, her first relationship, she's been in an abusive one in her first one.
Oh gosh.
And
that's hard on you as a friend.
It really was, because I was there when it happened. I could have said something, but I didn't, and I totally take the blame for it. But at the same time, it's like, where do I have a say in this, you know?
It's so tricky.
It is tricky, and I was just stuck, and it just went on for years, and I just kind of let it happen, and I feel terrible for it. But it's her relationship. She knows what she wants. At least I thought she knows what she wants, but I guess not. And see, you know, hindsight's a bitch, you know?
It's so true.
It's so true. And so I tried to text her, and she would not pick up. My friend, the guy, tried to text her too, but he nobody can get an answer actually out of her. So Angie's missing, and so is the other guy, and we're worried because she's never done anything like this before. And it took about, I believe, 2 hours. 2 hours, they finally came back, and we were like, where did you go? Why were you with him for 2 hours and you haven't responded to us? What was so important for you to not respond to us? You had to respond to us because you are a friend and we're worried about you, especially when you're alone with that guy, was talking for her.
Oh.
The guy that she was with.
Not good.
Yeah, that is not good. It just goes to show what kind of relationship they are in. The bottom line is that this whole time, this guy kept my friend Angie away from us, and they hadn't responded to us in 2 hours, and we were worried sick. We were this close to calling the police, and this is the same guy who also put his hands on her, and I think, I'm not totally sure, but sexually assaulted her.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, it was really, really sad.
That's brutal.
It is, but it's been a long time, so I feel like there's really nothing we can do about it now, especially if she chooses not to do anything.
Totally, that is her right.
Right, so I guess we'll just have to let it be for now. And then here comes her next boyfriend. And so mind you, this immediately came along after she and Alexander decided to break it off. And mind you, as looking back at it now, was not a good idea.
Nope.
She jumped straight too quick to the relationship. But I mean, like I said, she's her own person. I can't really say anything. So, and during the relationship, we actually thought they were actually pretty great together. But looking back at it now, it's there's a lot of differences. Yeah, it just makes it not work out, but he doesn't. And it's that's one of the major things. You gotta think of it at the long run,
right? Yeah.
And there was other things, there was financial problems, and one would get mad at the other, one would not pay attention to each other. I think that would be the her boyfriend Drake, or ex-boyfriend now. Yeah. Let's see. And it wasn't a good relationship. There was lots of problems, but I would say the bottom line is that second relationship wasn't as bad as the first one. At least he didn't really put his hands on her at all.
Right.
Or at least as far as I know.
But it just wasn't healthy.
It just wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was really toxic, but the second one, it just wasn't healthy. So, but the problem is, where I'm getting at is that, okay, after all she's been through, you could totally tell she hasn't been through a lot with the second relationship, yet she treats the second guy like he's the most evilest, I want to say evilest, but he was a major prick who had an effect on her than the first guy. And you wouldn't think what you should have hatred towards the first guy than the second guy. Wow. Sure, the second guy wasn't great because you thought he might have been the one, but he wasn't. And another thing, she plans on sending hate mail or something like that, all that. And I'm like, okay, so you have all this energy to give this to a guy who wasn't really that bad. I mean, sure, he was kind of like a jerk, but he, in comparison with the first guy, he is not that bad.
Yeah.
And yet you don't want to focus on the first guy who hurt you, who literally hurt you physically, emotionally, and mentally. And yet where is this energy? Why do you hate him instead of the first guy? Do you see what the problem is?
Right. Do you suppose that someone who's super controlling and manipulative, it sounds like this guy was, just is able to literally still in some ways keep her in the dark and completely deceived about what kind of a person he was? Do you think he still holds some kind of sway over her or something, maybe? Or no?
I honestly believe so. I really do, because she keeps secrets from me, and you know how I mentioned the sexual assault part? I haven't found that out till my friend told me that, the guy, my best friend, and it hurt me because I'm her best friend.
Right.
She's not his best friend, and yet for some reason she told him instead of me. So I'm heartbroken that she would tell him instead of me.
How do you want to stay her friend, or do you want to stay her friend? Or what does that look like for you in your mind?
I don't know. That's a tough question. Sometimes I think about that. I do deeply care for her because we actually grew up together as friends, and it's like because we both had a rough patch, and so that's one of the reasons why we stay together. Like we understand each other's pain.
Yep.
And
They call that trauma bonding.
how long can I put up with this? It's like I tell her stuff, but it just goes to show she won't tell me stuff, at least not anymore. And I'm wondering why. What did I do to make her think that she can't come to me to say anything?
Yeah.
I don't think she even told her mother.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what makes me even more sad. Like it's one thing to not tell me. I get that because I may not know everything, but your mother, your mother has a right to know. Her mother would have absolutely done something. They'd probably be in court right now. There'd be cops, or she would just go down to that guy's place and just threaten him herself.
Right.
I know that woman. She's
your guys'
crazy.
Relationship is. We can hope that your friend gets healthier, right? That feels like a fair thing to hope for.
Yeah, that is. Recently, I found out she's going to therapy, so I'm
good.
Yeah, I hope that's good. I hope she actually tells it there. At least someone. I hope she tells someone the whole thing. You know?
Yeah. Going to therapy and withholding major stuff is not super helpful. So I get that.
Right. So it's like, how are you going to get help that you're like retaining all the stuff that that caused you to be this way in the first place?
Yeah, fair. Totally fair. Well, Catherine, thank you so much for your story.
Well, thank you for having me here. It was totally fun to chill in the car with you.
Oh, you're awesome. I appreciate you. You have an amazing personality. So
thank you. This is actually my first time doing a podcast.
Well, I hope. Yes, I love that. Hopefully, not every rideshare person out there gets the same idea.
Oh man, no, that's hopefully you get some positive enlightenment on your podcast because this is really sad.
No, you got to have all the stories because I want the full rainbow of like the human experience, right?
Oh yes, I feel like I could go on about the situation. That's how complicated it is. You saw me going left and right. I'm going off track with the questions and answers. It was like, oh my goodness, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, fair enough. That's life though.
Yeah, that's life. Yeah, there's no denying that.
Well, thanks again.
No problem. Well, it was great talking to you.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I feel for Catherine. Of course, that and the other names in this story are not their real ones. Sometimes you end up trying to decide if this friendship is one that you're called to continue with. Some people are in our life for a season, and some for the duration of our lives. Sometimes we are the ones giving of ourselves and not getting much back, and sometimes we are the needy ones. There's no easy answers, and like we both agreed, that's life. So thinking about the last 4 stories, one of the themes seems to be about the messiness and uncertainty of life. Starting with being stuck in a closed space with a stinky person, to strangers prayerfully showing up in a lady's life just when she needed to be seen on her birthday, to the trans woman telling about her journey out of the depths of despair and moving towards a better life, and then the last story of not being sure how to proceed with a broken person who is your friend. I think from all of this, I want to leave us with the big message from our first writer, the poet with purpose, Mr. Creativity. His words said, in part, to never give up. The very things that may seem dirty and hard can provide the soil from which we grow strong. And that, my friends, is a life message worth repeating. This is what happens when you are a rideshare driver in Atlanta and ask people for their stories. These weren't handpicked people with great stories. They just happened to get in my car and be gracious enough to share with all of us. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be in Atlanta and need to grab a rideshare and end up telling the rest of us the next great story on BCP. I'd actually encourage you to, every so often, just ask a stranger to share a story from their life. You never know what you might learn. I believe that our stories are powerful. They can make you laugh, cringe, cry, or even get you to think or feel differently. Our stories can truly make this world a little bit better place. So please subscribe, rate, and listen to this podcast and share it with as many adults as possible. It would mean so much to me. First and foremost, I want to thank the incredible writers who trusted me with your stories. You're my heroes. Thanks also to all the people in the background who have believed in this project/dream. All of the music on this podcast was found on pixabay.com, and it was free, which is an amazing gift when you're starting a podcast on a shoestring budget.